Hello, everyone. With our new situation of having to basically take our classes both in person, asynchronous, and then on top of that, you might have to let the students watch the video later. It might be getting kind of hard to track attendance because now you're trying to track attendance from were they there in person, were they there asynchronously, were they allowed to go back and watch that video later? Did they actually watch that video later? And it might be kind of hard to keep track of those three different ways. So what I've done and what I'm using in my class is actually allowing them to track their attendance using a QR code reader, basically using their cell phones right here. So they're going to take their cell phones and access more or less an attendance module via Google Forms, and then I'll be able to keep track of when did the students go back and watch this if they were allowed to watch it later. What time did they actually take the QR code quiz or the QR code attendance right then and there? And that'll also allow me to see what time did they join into the class. So I'd like to share that with everybody and exactly how I do it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video real quick, turn my camera, and then show exactly how this works on a phone. So now here on my screen, you can see I've got this QR code, and I'm going to actually just take my phone and I'm going to scan that QR code. Now you can do multiple different ways of scanning a QR code. You can download a QR code reader. If you have an iPhone, you can actually scan the QR code directly off of the camera app and on the phone right then and there without having to download anything else. If you have Snapchat, I know a lot of our students actually have Snapchat, and the Snapchat is also a QR code reader as well. So I've got my QR code reader or QR code for this Google quiz that I've created, and then I've got basically my responses over here, and I'm going to go ahead and enlarge this video. Actually, not going to do that yet. I'm going to pull up my camera app. So I've got my camera app up here on my phone, and I'm going to actually just point it at that QR code, and what happens is right there at the top of that phone, we actually have this link that pops up. So if I just click on that link, it's actually going to bring in a Google Forms. So I'm wanting to track attendance in this case. So it's got this Google Forms pulled up, and I'm asking right here on this practice attendance, what is your first name? So I'm going to type that in. And then I'm going to type in my last name as well. And I know this is kind of hard to see on my phone, and I apologize for that. But it's basically just asking what is your first name and last name. And then I click submit. Now, whenever I click submit, I want you to be looking at the right-hand side of that screen right there where it says timestamp, first name, last name. Because whenever I click submit right here on my phone, it's going to automatically populate right there on the screen. So now we have a timestamp of when did the students scan that QR code, when did they complete it, to where now we know exactly when were they completing all this. And you can see that it's currently the 28th, and it's 11:18 and 25 seconds after 11:18 whenever I click submit, and I've got my first name and last name. So now I actually have a record of attendance because they had to be there. They had to actually view that QR code in order to click attendance. Now another really cool thing about what I do in my class is I actually take it one step further and I make a quiz. So I use daily questions where every day they actually go through these daily questions and we're refreshing what we talked about in the previous class. So let's go through that same process and let's see what a quiz actually looks like. So I've got my camera app pulled up again on my phone. I'm going to go down here, scan that QR code reader, and it's going to bring up this link right here at the top again. I click on this link, and now I'm asking for first name. And let me actually enlarge this real quick. So on my phone, it's actually asking, of course it's backwards, but it's asking for my first name, last name, and then I can actually fill out this quiz. So let's go through that process real quick. So Tyler, Reagan, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. And what year did COVID-19 hit the U.S.? Now, I know it hit in 2020, but I'm going to pick a wrong answer just to show you what it does. And then I click submit. And I go up here to view score. So now it's going to tell me which ones did I get right and which ones did I get wrong and the correct answer there. So I could use these as daily questions or as refreshers for my students. And sorry it's not zooming in all that well, but the way that populates then on our screen is here is our quiz. So it's going to show the timestamp when it was all taken, who took it because they answered that first and last name. Furthermore, it's going to show them their score. So it's an easy way to actually have the score graded for you for these daily questions. And then it shows you which answers did they pick to where you could go in and see how your students are doing on these daily questions. So essentially, this is how I keep track of my attendance in my class. And I do these daily questions every single day where it's automatically graded, where I just manually go and enter it into the gradebook and Moodle after the fact. So in this video, I'm going to actually be going over how do we go about creating, or in the next couple of videos, I'm going to go about how do we create the Google Forms first and foremost, to where we can make it into a quiz or just use it as an attendance. How do we link that into a Google Sheets? And then how do I develop these QR codes? And kind of how do I keep that all organized? So that's what we're going to be doing over the next couple of videos.